this is John Cola with DiscountJuicers.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you, and this is the one I know many of you guys have been waiting for. It's a comparison of the all-new Omega VRT400 HDS to the Omega VRT350S, which is also HD, but it's unspoken, so don't tell anybody. So both these models have the HD screen and HD auger, which are 8 times harder plastic than augers on other machines. And basically they work fairly similar. They're both vertical single auger style machines. So this style machine is good for juicing a wide variety of fruits and vegetables, and leafy greens will also juice wheatgrass. But once again, each juicer has their pros and cons. If you said, John, I want to juice 80% leafy greens, should I get the Omega Vert? I'd say no, don't get the Omega Vert. While the Omega Vert will juice leafy greens, I have done other tests on YouTube that show juicing 1 pound of leafy greens in the Omega Vert compared to 1 pound of leafy greens in the Omega 8000 series, like the Omega 8004 and Omega 8006, and I got 25% more yield with the other style machine. That being said, in my kitchen, I use the Omega Vert juicers the most because it's the most convenient. One of the things I like about the Omega Vert is that it's virtually self-feeding if you prepare the produce properly, which means cutting up your leafy greens into 1/8-inch pieces. Be sure to check my other videos entitled Omega Vert Best Practices to learn how to use these machines the best way possible. Some of the downsides of the Omega Vert is that it does tend to back up on the outlet feed chute port because it actually has to go down and make a right angle if you don't prepare your produce properly and feed things accordingly. In addition, it does create more pulp than other machines. Once again, this is a slow juicer, runs at 80 RPMs, revolutions per minute, so it runs really slow. It's quiet in your kitchen, doesn't sound like an airplane taking off like the high-speed machines. It's also going to preserve more nutrition in the juice that you're juicing, and hopefully that's why you're drinking the juice, to get the nutrition in you instead of in your compost bin, like many of the high-speed juicers, chuck out up to 50% more minerals based on some testing that I have seen. Although the yields, are about the same, but the nutrients in the juice are more definitely in the slow juicers. So what we're going to do today is compare the new model to the old model. The first thing is, to get it out the way real quick, is the catch carafes. The catch carafes on the old model and the new model are identical. They can be switched, and actually many of the parts between these machines are the same. There's only a few small variances. So let's go ahead and move these to the side. And one of the variances is the Omega VRT400 comes with the strainer screen. So this will allow you to take out some of that extra pulp. I have recommended for people that have the Omega VRT350 to just go out and go down to Target or a local department store and get a little strainer. But this does the same thing and is included. And I've told Omega since the get-go to include this, and I'm finally glad they are including it with their new model. Next, let's take a look at something also similar, the pusher. So these pushers actually look identical. They're the same on both machines. That being said, throw away the pusher. You do not want to be using the pusher in the Omega Vert. If you are, you're pushing things in too quickly, in my opinion. The pusher, in my opinion, should only be used to dislodge things that are stuck in the feed chute, and for no other reason. In addition, both juicers come with your standard cleaning brush. This cleaning brush is imperative to clean the juice out of the holes of the screen after each and every use. The most important thing to do after you're done juicing is to use this cleaning brush and brush out the screen to dislodge the pulp, because you will get pulp buildup in the screen, which will basically lower your yield over time. So wash it right after done using the special brush. Next, that leads us down to the two machines. So let's move these guys closer and show you the differences. All right, so the first difference is the Omega VRT400 looks about, 1/8 inch taller, so it's a little bit taller. In addition, we'll go ahead and give you guys a side profile. Check this out, side shot right there, the Omega VRT400 and the Omega VRT350. And check it out. What looks more sexy to you? Well, I like the shape of the Omega VRT350, but I think the 400 just looks, that much better. Has the silver and black coloring with some little vent holes and somewhat more like, a little bit more modern design in my opinion than the Omega Vert. 350, but you know, that's just aesthetics. Now, I'm all about functionality, so let's check out the functionality and see the differences. So first we have the tops here. Now these tops look to be very similar. The funnel shape size is a little bit different, but the most important thing is the feed chute. And the feed chute, just from a quick eyeball here, they look to be approximately the same size, so that has not changed between either of the units. Next, the heart of the machine is the auger here. Let's take a look at these augers. We could actually line these up side by side, and you know what? They look almost identical. Let's see if one auger fits in the other machine and vice versa. Yes, so one auger fits in the other machine and vice versa, and it looks like they're pretty much the same thing with my untrained eyes. So the augers are identical in both these machines. So you might be thinking, John, what's the difference? Well, let's keep going. Next, we got the juicing screens. So the juicing screens, these are both HD screens. This is the translucent yellow, and this is the smoke color. Both these are the HD plastic, which are the 8 times stronger plastic. These screens pretty much look identical. Once again, let's see if they fit in the opposite machine. So we could put the Omega VRT350 screen in the Omega VRT400, and let's see if it fits and lines up. Everything all lines up. Let's see if we could put the 400 screen in the VRT350. Yep, fits no problem. So the screens are identical. Now if the screens are identical, the other parts that are also identical has to be the automatic wiping blade. I like the automatic wiping blades because they basically act like a windshield wiper for your screen to keep your screen clean, to assure you that you can get the highest yield without as much clogging. So the main difference between these guys are the color. This is the white plastic with the yellow silicone wiping blades, and this is the gray plastic with the yellow silicone wiping blades. Does that really make a difference? Well, I have seen the white plastic tend to basically get stained a little bit, and maybe the gray plastic will hide that a little bit. Once again, no major difference. Now this is where the main difference starts here, is with the juicing bowls. Number one, you can see on the Omega VRT350, this thing actually locks into place, and I have had some challenges with some customers that are trying to get their juice apart, and this part is stuck. How this works is you have to have it on here, and then you have to rotate it, and then you lift it up. With this one, check it out. I could just pick this up. The whole machine doesn't even lift up. That's because this just lifts off. So this will alleviate the issue that some customers had with not being able to get this off. This just comes off like that, and as you can see on the bottom here, they look fairly similar. So let's take a look a little bit closer. And if we look closer, pretty much the outlet where the juice comes out is pretty much the same, except for this one. It has this little spout, and this spout has a little stopper here that'll allow you to keep the juice inside the machine so that it will mix up inside the machine. Also, it'll stop it from dripping when you're done juicing. All the juice comes out. You close this so that you don't get drips on your counter, which is nice. In addition, the stopper will also allow you to better make things like nut milks, almond milks, and fruit infused almond milks and nut milks in the Omega Vert. Without it, you can still do that, but it's just not really going to work the same. In addition, one of the differences on here is if we take a look at the outlet port. So the outlet port on the Omega Vert is actually long and skinny and more narrow. On the Omega VRT400 is actually short, stubby, and bigger. So this may reduce the amount of stoppages you get in the outlet port. So I think this is definitely a good improvement. Now also I want to show you guys right here the little yellow pulp flap and the opening. The opening appears to be approximately the same size on both machines, although on the 400 they did do a little bit of a contour edging that may help the pulp flow out a little bit more than on the 350. Once again, this little pulp flap here should be pulled out to clean, and always when you're juicing you need to make sure it's fully pushed in. What this little pulp flap does, it keeps the pressure on the produce to keep it inside the machine to assure you're going to get the maximum yield. In addition, if you do not put this in, you're going to get leakage on the top of your machine, which is not desirable. Let's see, the other thing is where the juice comes out on both these machines, and let's see, that also has been improved actually. On the Omega VRT350, you can see there's just basically a pathway where the juice will flow through the bottom of the bowl here. And on the Omega VRT400, that pathway looks to be a little bit wider. Plus, they actually have it a little bit contoured, so it's actually carved out and actually is a little bit recessed to maybe help that juice flow out just a little bit better. So I like that a lot. In addition, both these machines have the little gear. The gear's in the back here, and both these machines have the gear opposite the juice port where the juice falls out. In the original VRT350s, the spinner was near the juice port, which may have caused more pulp to be in the juice. On all the models now, as long as you're getting a current model, not old stock, it does have the spinner on the back side opposite where the juice comes out, so you're going to ensure you're getting the minimum amount of pulp in your juice. I mean, that's pretty much it for this. I mean, I got to tell you, definitely the 400 is an improvement. Is it a significant improvement? Well, I haven't done testing on it yet, and this is just a comparison, but for all practical purposes, these machines are fairly similar. You know, as you can see, just the main bowl is different, and a lot of the parts are actually interchangeable. Next, let's take a look at the motor base. That's the main body of the juicer. Both these guys are fairly heavy. They seem about the same weight to me, and I believe they are both rated at 120 volts, 60 hertz, 150 watts. And this one is also rated the same, 120 volts, 60 hertz, 150 watts. So all the same, they're both UL listed. I mean, oh, and let's check out the back once again. So the on-off switch, let's take a look at that here. So on the back here, each machine has a on and off and a reverse. So this is a 3-position switch. If you click it up, it's on. That means it's running the normal direction. If you click it to the middle, that's off. And if your machine does get clogged up for some reason, like you put a fat carrot in that's too large of a diameter, it stops. You're just going to momentarily hit the reverse button, push it down, it clicks down, and it'll run reverse to clean it out, and then you can just go ahead and go back to on to go the normal direction. I mean, assembly on these machines are fairly similar. Let's go ahead and do the assembly on it for you guys. Once again, when you're taking the machine, you're going to put this yellow pulp flap in on the Omega VRT350. We're going to go ahead and put this in, and you're going to put it on and then rotate it to the right to get it held on. With this, it's a little bit nicer because all you do is you just set it into place. So that's definitely an improvement. Next, you're going to take the wiping blade, insert that into the screen here, and on the screen, this is something actually a bit new. This screen actually has a little red dot that can fade over time. This one actually has a little arrow nudge here with a little white arrow. And that little arrow on this machine needs to be lined up with a little arrow here. It says open. And then this little red dot here has to be lined up with a little red dot over here on this machine. And then you're going to just take the auger, which once again are identical, just drop those in the machine. And they go right into place. Next, we're going to take the top housing, and on this housing there's like a little indentation or raised indentation, the opposite of our indentation, a little embossed like black arrow that points down. You're going to line up the black arrow with the red dot right there, put it in, and then you're going to spin it over to closed. On this machine, you have a white arrow, and once again, that white arrow needs to line up with this white arrow and the white arrow over here that says open, and then you spin this to close. And that's how easy it is to assemble. So overall, this comparison showed that the brand new Omega VRT400 is basically the same as the VRT350 with a few minor improvements and updates, and yeah, it's a little bit more snazzier, and I'd probably rather own the 400 than the 350. But if you already have the 350, or don't want to spend the extra money for the 400, you're probably going to get the same performance in the 350 as the 400, although you have a few new features and bells and whistles, and it is easier to assemble, as I show. I mean, the cleaning is going to be identical. The main thing is you want to make sure you use this toothbrush cleaner right after you're done using it. So hopefully after watching this video, you now know the differences between the Omega VRT350 HDS and the Omega VRT400 HDS. Stay tuned for future episodes where I will actually be doing juice off comparisons between these two, and I don't, anticipate any major difference in yields, although because of the juice flap here, we're going to be able to make some cool, fruit-infused nut milks and things like that. So once again, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. We'll see you next time. And be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.